Hi everyone, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. I am Sir Tristan. Today we're going to keep talking about food. There's a lot to cover when it comes to food. We're going to cover places to eat today, starting with dining rooms for your dwarves and pens and pastures for your animals. Now I'm on the bottom floor of my fortress, at least the bottom carved out portion. If you remember correctly here, I'll use my mouse. Here's my farm, where I have some plump helmets being planted or growing right now. And if I go up a floor, this is where my kind of temporary crafting area is, where I've got my mason workshop, my carpenter workshop, and my still, or my brewery to get ale. And I want to build a dining room. A dining room serves two functions. Well, actually more than that. The first main function is it gives your dwarves some place to eat. Without a dining room, your dwarf will basically go to whatever barrel is holding food and just eat it standing right there. Same thing with drink. But if you provide them a dining room, then they will actually go there and get food for themselves. So I'm going to unpause it while I talk a little bit more. And you should see some dwarves come here. Remember that I've used the D for designations to dig out this area. D and then D again for mining. And remember, you can always follow what I'm doing in the bottom left corner. But I've carved out this section for our dining room. It's not perfectly efficient in its shape, but it stands out very well, and I want that to be completely clear. So, my miner's digging this out. What else are dining rooms good for? So they actually will congregate dwarves in this location when they don't have anything else to do. And that's important for a few different reasons. One, it makes them socialize. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, I'm out of stone. Hang on one second. Am I really out of stone? Yeah. Looks like I'm gonna need to, yeah. I'm just gonna dig out this area here. We just need a place, I think, to get stone. So there, we'll do that. Okay. I'm out of stone. I need stone to build a few things for the dining room. But, back to what I was saying, the dining room... There's that flash again. I thought I'd fix that. Hang on, let me look at my announcements. Damp stone located. Oh, no. Yeah, we know, you need non-economic stone. So, yeah. Keep digging. I promise I'm going to get to what I want to say here in a minute. There's apparently... Yeah, that's fine. But they can dig there. That's not going to hurt them. You guys dig that out. There we go. Okay, as I was saying, that's going to force your dwarves to socialize. It's going to pause on every single one of these tiles, isn't it? Game, you make me upset. I'm just going to quickly go through this as fast as I can. There we go. Now I can reassign these. That's why it's always a hassle to dig anywhere near water, because your dwarves will let you know 1,000 times over if there's damp stone nearby. Okay, I got it. Damp stone, I'm with you. You'll be safe, I promise. Take these 3 out. This should be the last time that happens. And then they should fly down here. Oops. To dig out this. Good. Hopefully this will provide some chert. Good. So we have boulders now. Okay, back to what I was saying. Dining rooms will force your dwarves to do a few different things. One, it's going to force them to socialize. This means that their non-combat skills, or their non-worker skills, will increase. If we go back to V, remember, which is to look at our dwarves, and there happens to be one right here on the screen, using my mouse here to highlight him, we can see over on this side, he's a dabbling conversationalist, a dabbling intimidator, a dabbling judger of intent. These are his miscellaneous skills. If we turn off labor and we turn off combat, his miscellaneous, or his personality skills are left. These will actually get better as they converse with dwarves. Being in a dining room, or spending their spare time in a dining room, will improve that. Let's go back down, make sure that there's a few stone. We need some stone. Oh well, we'll just watch them do this while I keep talking. Another thing it will do is it will build relationships with dwarves. As they talk with each other, they'll actually become friends. They might actually get married. they might actually form lasting relationships. It's actually both good and bad. Reasons why it's good is that it produces happy thoughts. When people talk with spouses, talk with children, when they talk with friends or acquaintances, that produces happy thoughts. Happy dwarves work harder, work faster. So it makes sense. It's bad in that if a dwarf another dwarf really cares about is killed, that can make them very unhappy, and bad things can happen when dwarves are unhappy. Another thing that it will let them do is hold parties at certain buildings, like tables. In the dining room, dwarves can host parties if they have nothing else to do. Going to a party, also good and bad, like a lot of things in Dwarf Fortress. Very good in that it increases dwarves' moods. Bad in that it prevents them from doing tasks. If they're at a party and celebrating, they won't do anything that you've assigned them to do, so that can be very bad. Alright, we've got plenty of stone here. So what do you need in order to build a dining room? Well, if you remember when I was talking about beds, which are up here, our little bedroom here, the way that we assigned a bedroom, or assigned a, not barracks, but what do you call this again? Hang on, where's my cursor? There it is. Cursor, get up there. There we go, a dormitory. That was the word I was looking for. Just like I assigned a dormitory using a bed, you can assign a dining room using a table. And guess what? I happen to be building some tables right before I turn the video on. So if I hit T to look at what's inside a building, I'm going to go over to the Mason's Workshop. Look at that. I have on the right here, I have two tables and a throne, which is a chair. For some reason, wooden tables or wooden chairs are called thrones. Just ignore it. They're just chairs. I'm not sure why they're called that. So, just like building a bed, actually, before I do that, let's go back to the Mason's Workshop. Press Q to assign a task, and I'm going to need some more tables and chairs. So I have, go back to T real fast, I have two tables and one chair. So let's do a second chair. That's going to be, remember, first of all, to set tasks is Q, A to add a new task. Let's do a table, or a chair. So that'll be 2 tables and 2 chairs. Let's do 4. Let's do 4 of each. We'll set that to be built. Oops. And then we will go to the B menu for build. If I'm going pretty fast, I apologize. Remember that I've covered all these pretty in depth in other tutorials previous to here. So I'm going to start going a bit faster when we're going over the things that I've talked about before. So we're going to go build, and then if we scroll through here on the right, we're looking for table. I already know it's T, but I want you to know you can always find them. Table, T, right there, T. And chair is going to be, well, seat. Okay, it's pretty much anything that's a seat is going to be C. So T and C. So we're in the build menu. We'll have to press T. And we will use the mouse, or not the mouse, we will use the keyboards to build a table here. And it's going to ask us what kind on the right. We'll press enter. We only have chert. Press T again. Press enter. Enter. Now we have 2 tables that will be assigned. We have 1 chair. Let's go ahead and assign that. Press C and assign it right next to the table. Now, it has to be right next to the table because if a dwarf enters, or if a dwarf eats in a dining room without being adjacent or on top of both a chair and a table, they will be unhappy. So you always want to make sure that there's a chair and a table paired together. And it might make sense to put a chair and a table, or put multiple chairs around a table. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. Only one dwarf can use a table at any one time. It may seem it's probably a bit more aesthetically pleasing to put 2 around there, but I can guarantee you it won't work. It won't work. I've tested it, and the wiki says so. Let's go ahead and go actually to the Masons. Let's see. What kind of door is this? You know what? That flashing is back again. I'm going to fix that at some point. I promise you. I'm not sure what's causing it. A chert door. Let's go ahead and go to the Mason's Workshop. AD for add door. Got 2 doors now. Oh boy, my computer wants to restart, of course. What did that say? Apologies, let me see if that's still on the screen. It's not. I must have hit later instead of do it now, so that's fine. Alright, so I've got the rest of the materials building. Let's go ahead and hit Q to set a preference. Go to this table in the far right corner, and then as you can see on the right, make dining room. So we're going to press R, and just like when we selected dormitory, we have this flashing blue box that we can increase with plus or decrease with minus. I'm going to put the doors probably right here and right here, so I will make the room this size and press enter. You can see on the right now we can assign this table to someone, make it a free table, just like with a bed, we can assign it. Why you would want to assign it is, let's say you really didn't want certain dwarves mingling together. You could assign them a certain table, perhaps in their bedroom, in their own private bedroom, and they would eat there instead. Now there's always a chance, depending on if tables are busy or if things are happening, that they'll go to the dining room, but for the most part, they'll eat in their bed where you assign them. We can also make this a meeting hall with H. We're going to do that for sure. The meeting hall is what lets them, while they are idle, move to this place. So I'm pretty sure now all the dwarves that were idle outside should move down into here. There's a cat. There we go. More cats. Who is this? Let's press V. Go to Waka. He's our expedition leader. He indeed has no job, so he's just going to hang out now in the dining room. And any dwarf that doesn't have a job is just going to hang out in here. It's just going to be the place that they relax. There comes some more. And sure enough, all of our spare animals will come as well. Uh-oh, look at this. Look at our... You see these two symbols here? We've actually had some plump helmets. I couldn't think of what they're called. We've had some plump helmets actually die on the vine. That's actually pretty bad. That's completely... I'm just throwing away food at this point. We definitely don't want that. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do about that. But for now, let's keep working on our dining room. How's our other materials coming along? Coming along just fine. Coming along just fine. Now, if you look and see, look at our oxen right here. See he's got the brown down arrow, means he's hungry. We've not assigned any place for our large grazing animals to eat. It's actually a big problem. If they don't eat, they will die. What do they eat? They eat grass. And thankfully, we already know exactly how to feed them. We just have to do it. How do we feed them? So in a previous episode, when talking about alcohol and water, we set a zone. How do you set zones? You press I, and you can see our existing water zone is down here. I'll actually use the mouse here and circle it so you can see it very clearly. We need to do the same thing, but we need to set a pen or a pasture. Now, large grazing animals, anything like horses, oxen, donkeys, things that you would make sense eat grass, goats, sheep, need to be put in a pen or a pasture. Things like chickens, hen, they technically don't. They could, but they don't need to. As far as what they eat, they don't eat anything. Really, at this point in time, they eat nothing. They can survive somehow without food. It's either just not been added into the game, or it's been purposely bypassed. I'm not sure which. So for now, we just need to set up a pasture for our grazing animals. Again, I apologize for the flashing. I'm going to have to figure out how to fix that. For now, we're just going to have to live with it. So, different sized animals eat different amounts of grass, and there's actually a wiki page for that. I can actually show you. Oh, apologize for the flashing there. That's my chiptunes playing in the background. Let's go to Pastures. And there should be... Let's go to grazing animals. Yeah, so here's a formula for determining how much, basically, your grazing animal is going to eat. Now there's a table somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Maybe it's here. It's not. That's just a tag that you could use to add or remove grazing from a particular animal. I'm not sure, actually. I've seen that table before. If anybody knows where it is, please mention that down in the comments, because that would be very useful for people to know. But you can basically tell how big, basically the bigger your animal is, the more tiles he needs to graze at. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I don't have that many grazing animals. I think just 2, maybe 4, that brought our cart, or our wagon in. Remember the wagon that's been here since the very beginning. So I've got my cursor here. If you can see with the mouse keys here, I'm going to go over a little bit, get a bit more room, press enter, just like I designate almost anything else. In other zones, press enter again. And then over here in the upper right corner, you can see in for pin and pastures. So I'm going to press in, and pin and pasture is going to highlight a little bit. Now we're not done yet. We have to actually tell the game, or tell our dwarves, what animals to put in here. And you can see now that I've assigned the pin and pasture, I have this capital N, set pin and pasture information. Information is a little misleading. I'm basically going to pick what animals go there. So I'm going to hold shift and press in, and you can see the list here. Now if I use the plus and minus to scroll through these, I can set, who I basically put in there. So for sure the cats don't need it. This cat's been named. That's actually maybe kind of bad. I think somebody has adopted it. We'll take a look. The turkey hens and the gobblers don't need it. It's just going to be our buffalo bull. Press enter, and our cow. Enter. Now that I've pressed enter, you can see there's actually these two new images, or icons. This icon basically means they're going to be put in there, and this one means that they are or are not. So if I unpause, eventually a dwarf that does not have a job will come up here, grab a buffalo. There you go. You can see it right here. He's grabbing this buffalo and he's dragging it into the pen or a pasture. Now I don't need to put up walls or anything like that. They will automatically stay in their own area. Now they are going to be very susceptible to things like goblin attacks or things like that. However, I will handle that in the future. I'll put up some kind of protective guard before we get into that kind of trouble, really. At least I should. So you can see now, we kind of have just all kinds of various animals and things congregating in our dining area. I need more tables, so let's pause it, do B for build, T for table. We have more tables ready. Press enter. It looks like we have both of them ready. So press enter here, blade 2, and let's press C for chair. How many do we have ready? We have just one ready. So we can unpause. Now I have something separate that we're going to do with all of our hens. Ugh, look at all that. Look at all that. It's actually really... I wonder why. I need to look at my dwarves and see why these things have been allowed to wither. I'm really not sure. Maybe I'm planting too much. Maybe that's the problem. Let's actually look at this. On break. On break? Okay, I'd tell you what, I'm actually going to fix this right here and right now. So what we can do is we can press Q, and we can actually set all of these things to fallow with Z, so that they don't plant anything, and instead they will hopefully just harvest. Harvesting food is actually no seeds, no plum helmet seeds. Well, that's no good. Okay, A, Z, B, Z, C, Z, D, Z. A, Z, B, Z, C, Z, D, Z. If you're wondering what I'm doing, check my my underground farming video, where I talk about different seasons and setting things to fallow and things like that. Okay, I'm not really sure what's happening here. It's possible that there's no barrels to store them in. That's actually a very likely possibility. They can't harvest them because there's no barrels. So let's go up here. We need Q. We need to add a barrel. Nope. Cancel that with C. Add, I think barrels V. Yeah. So I'm actually just going to add a bunch of these because we clearly need a lot. There is a better way to manage making barrels. We will get to that in the future once I have some more dwarves. So hopefully he will go make those barrels now immediately. Come on. Good. Because we're just throwing away plump helmet seeds and plump helmets right now, and that's pretty bad for me. I probably did not have enough foresight. Come on. What are you guys doing? Let me look at these real fast. Let's go to P, preferences, L, labor, hauling. Food hauling is turned on. Picking mushrooms, I'm pretty sure, is a food hauling task. Food hauling. Dwarves of food hauling will participate in hauling food and drink in appropriate food stockpiles. Note that certain instances of food hauling do not require this labor, notably returning alcohol barrels to stockpile after taking a drink. Do I not have a stockpile for that? I don't think that even matters, honestly, but let's put one up really fast. This is kind of obviously going off the rails a little bit. Remember, stockpiles are P and then F for food stockpile. I'm just going to put it right here because it's just got to get slapped down. Maybe that's going to be the problem? Oh my god, it is the problem. Wow. Okay, so there you go. That's actually really good to know. Again, a big part of Dwarf Fortress is just learn by doing, and I've now learned something new, in that dwarves won't harvest food if they don't have a stockpile to put it in. And I guess there's really no barrels or anything to set this up in. Let's go to Q. Max barrels is set to max. That's fine. As soon as he gets barrels, we get barrels. We should put them. They should all be contained basically in one. But that's good. Yeah, there we go. We got barrels. So save me, unfortunately, from this. May actually cost me quite a bit in the future. I might run out of. Well, I don't know. That's a lot of plump helmets that I have just sitting there. As those get brewed, as those get eaten, they'll produce more seeds, and I can continue to plant them. Let's go to Z real fast. I just want to take a quick look at my kitchen. Remember, Z is to kind of be it's like your status page or your status screen of all the different available things. We have around 20 plump helmets. We have, it's not telling us how many plump helmet seeds we have. We have plenty of meat. That's fine. Oh, we actually do. We have no plump helmet seeds at all. Yeah, right. We knew that. But we have plenty of wine and beer, so that's good. So for a while, I don't have to worry about turning food or turning plump helmets into alcohol. I can just let them be used again as food and plant the seeds. So that's actually pretty good. I think we're going to be okay. Let's go ahead and build these doors. So BD for door. Build it here and here. There we go. So now we've got our dining room. Actually, we need our chairs. Build chair. So how many tables and chairs do you need? So the wiki says 1/4. Since dwarves are not all going to eat at the same time, just like they're not going to sleep at the same time, the wiki recommends you give about 1/4. You make about 1/4 table and chair combos as you do number of dwarves. I've got 7 dwarves, so obviously 4 is going to be a bit overkill. But I always like to do, at least in the beginning, a bit more than about half, I would say. And again, it's just going to be personal feel. We're going to do some things in the future to make our dining room look really beautiful. Because the happier they are, the nicer things that they see while in the room, the happier their thoughts are going to be, and so the dwarves are going to get some good thoughts. Actually, if you look in the bottom right corner here, if you remember from, I think like video 3 or 4, where I talked about what you all see, what this interface looks like, here's our happiness meter down here. We have 2 dwarves that are ecstatic, extremely happy, and the rest are just, pretty happy. So that's actually pretty good. They perhaps have slept in a nice bed. They perhaps have eaten a fine meal or something, eaten, in a nice bed, dining hall or something. Not sure exactly. But now I have this. One last benefit of dining room is this keeps all your dwarves that are not busy in a very safe location. It's a very safe spot. One last thing I probably want to do. This video might be a little bit shorter than normal, but I will go ahead and break down my wagon so that dwarves stop coming out here for stuff. So I'm going to press Q, move over to here, and as you can see in the bottom right corner, or you can see here it's flashing, in the bottom right corner is remove building. Press X. Now it's been slated. We need a carpenter to come do it, but before too long a carpenter should come, break down that wagon. By default, your wagon serves as a meeting hall. So that's why, by the way, when you first start a game, all your dwarves are just kind of hanging out at your wagon. It serves as a de facto meeting hall. And so that's just where they will go by default. But now that I've set a different one up that's actually labeled a meeting hall, this is where they'll be. Cool. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Again, it might be a little bit shorter than normal, but I just wanted to cover that because that was 2 very important things. Oh, look at that. I've got seeds for plump helmets dwarves are eating. They're leaving behind plump helmets. Those will get turned into food pretty soon. That's great. That's really good. I'm actually not sure how to clean these up. I'm going to look that up. And for the next video, I'll try to make sure I remember to say something about that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode. I think next time I'll talk about, again, a bit more food, what I'm going to do with these hens that are just kind of hanging out, and perhaps organize my food stockpiles a little bit better. Alright, cool. See you next time.